Hi, I'm Paul Friedman. I founded the Marriage Foundation. People write into us. It's a free service that we have at tmfinfo.org. You can ask a counselor. I founded the Marriage Foundation many years ago. I used to be a divorce mediator, but I shifted my practice over 20 years ago because I wanted to help people. And I saw very clearly that marriage counseling really doesn't work in its present form. So I created ideas that really help people stay together. And I made it a point to focus on the marriage, not just problems. It's very easy to get caught up in problems, such as the one we're going to discuss today. Someone wrote in and they asked, how do I keep him from looking at other women and pay more attention to me? That's a really good question. But how can you possibly respond to just that question in a vacuum? You really have to take a look at the whole marriage and say, why would he insult you that way? It is an insult, isn't it? I mean, to do that right in front of you is humiliating. We know that men have a wandering eye, most men, and they look. Is it okay? I don't think so. And I know that if you don't want your husband looking, with you there or not there, you have the power to change it. We don't realize how much power we have in our marriage because we forget why we got married in the first place. You got married and he got married for exactly the same reason. To be happier every day of your life. To feel love. Ever-expanding love. That's why you got married. And now, have you reduced your marriage down to complaining about him looking at other women? You should be asking, why? Now, is what he is doing okay? I don't think so. However, it's the result of him not being fully taken care of by you. Because you have the power to fully take care of him in ways that knock his socks off, that make him feel like he's the king, that he is the most amazing man. These are the things you told him before you got married. Whether you articulated it in words or not, by agreeing to marry him, you told him that he's the man for you, that you want to be his queen, that you want to be devoted, his lover, his confidant, his number one in everything. That's what you were telling him. So let me ask you this. Be honest. Are you living up to the expectations that you implied he should have of you? Or do you complain? Everyone thinks complaining is just part of life. Well, it might be part of life that's not happy, and you have the power to no longer complain. Do you criticize him? Probably. And everyone says that's normal. Everyone, that's the mainstream, which is why the Marriage Foundation is not mainstream. With our books and our courses and our way of approaching marriage that is so different, so positive. Do you condemn him at times? Do you have expectations that are unreasonable on him, when you should be having expectations on yourself? Do you work to build your devotion towards him? Do you work to express more and more love towards him? Or are you leaving him hanging? Leaving him in a place where he's wondering whether you love him or whether you're just married to him. Now look, I get complaints when I do a video like this from women who say, oh yeah, so in other words, it's all my fault. Yeah, maybe it's partially your fault. I'm not saying that what he's doing is okay. but are you doing what you're supposed to do? Instead of looking at him and that he's being a jerk for doing this, and he is, have you asked yourself about how you're behaving with him? Because if you want a good marriage, you cannot change him. You can't tell him stop looking at other women. He'll still do it. Will he stop doing it when you start being amazing? Probably. Because he'll go, I don't want to risk offending my wife. That's the right attitude. It should be done in a positive way. You know that if you have children, you always give them positive options. But right now, you're looking for negative options. How do I tell him? How do I make it clear that it's not okay? Well, that attitude is not okay. You have to treat him in ways that reflect something that you need to develop. You say, oh, I love him, or I wouldn't be married to him. Right. I'll buy that. I'll agree with that. But is your thinking aligned with that love? Or do you criticize him? Do you condemn him? Do you complain to him? You should be smiling at him all the time. You should be a very happy person, because men and women want to be around happy people. And you know, in this day and age, we have a billion excuses for not being happy. We blame everybody and everything, and yet we have free will. You have free will. You know, this is the thing that we are not taught. We are not taught that it's your mind and you're in charge of it. You have the conscious awareness that you can be happy. You have the conscious awareness that you can feel ever-expanding love because you have felt these things. And you have free will and volition, but you're not using them for those because you're not making good choices, because the whole Western psychological world, which is in control of marriage in the world, says, let's talk about the problems. What's up? What's going on? Let's unwrap this, instead of going, do you realize how much power you have to feel love, to feel joy, to rebuild and build upon your connection with your husband and turn it into your home, turn your home into a hive of happiness? This is what you should be focused on. These telltale signs that it's not working for him are important for you to realize, I'm missing something. They're not causes for you to condemn your husband. They're there so that you can go, whoa, I must not be pleasing him. And if your mind is going, well, he's not pleasing me, then you're so far off course, it's ridiculous. Because you didn't promise that when you got married. When you did your vows, you didn't say, I promise to love you forever as long as. You didn't say that. No one does. Our intention when we get married is to love unconditionally, and then we forget. You know, human beings live on 3 different levels all at the same time. We have our primal level, which is basically a result of our bodily needs. It's primal. It's all about me, I, me, mine. Then we have more of the mundane level, our day-to-day existence, where that primal level is the actions that want to come from that are mitigated by higher ideas of morality, higher ideas of fairness. But then there's another level of life that we think we're jumping into when we get married. That's the level of love. It is the most real level for us as human beings, because we are essentially souls. We don't have a soul, we are a soul. It's not religious, it's just the way it is. You're a soul. You have a body and you have a mind. And when you get married, you're expecting to live on that plane of love. But you don't. Because we're not taught. It's not their fault, whoever they are, that we're not taught. The world is evolving. We know that. 150 years ago, when Western psychology started getting strong, they didn't even know what vibrations were. They still don't understand what love is. They talk about love as increased like, but we all know it's much more than that. It's a tangible reality of the soul. You experience it. You experienced it when you gave your vows. You experience it every time you go to a wedding. There's this moment when we feel this overwhelming love take over everything. And the mind can't keep up with it. Because the mind lives in a finite realm. Now it's elastic. You can keep pushing out the boundaries of the mind, and that's what you're supposed to do. But you have to learn how. I wish I could say to you, just do this, just do that, just do this, but there's a whole teaching around marriage. And you need to take advantage of the fact that we are here to pass this information on. Yeah, it's free. You can watch these videos. You should subscribe to this channel. Watch these videos. You'll learn so much. You could read the articles, or you could take the next step, get one of the books. But if your marriage is in trouble, or if you really want to power into this thing and get that love and all of that joy from your marriage on a constant basis, then get the Course for Women. You have so much power, but it's sitting there. And unless you direct it, it won't mean anything. It's like an engine without being started. So I'm Paul Friedman. I founded the Marriage Foundation based on these amazing principles and based on the fact that your marriage can be more than everything you imagined it could be. Undreamed of possibilities. Join me again. Like this video. Leave a comment if you wish. Thank you for spending time. God bless you, and take care.